Thank you all. Wow, I am just thrilled to be here. I am excited about being in Seattle, and I want to thank Mayor Murray for his endorsement. I look forward to being a good partner with you on behalf of this great American city, and I will take you up on the offer to have Michael talk to my husband. I want to thank Attorney General Bob Ferguson, King County Executive Dow Constantine, State Senator Kevin Ranker. I want to thank Pam Cipriano, who is the president of the American Nurses Association, and Jan Bussert, president of Washington State Nurses Association, for endorsing me today. I am so proud to be endorsed by the Nurses of America. And I want to thank all of the elected officials who are here with us, and I particularly want to pay tribute to this great high school, a great, great high school. You know, Rainier Beach is not only the champion of basketball, it's the champion of the International Baccalaureate and the great results that the students here are getting. It really makes me so proud to know what this school is accomplishing, and I will tell you, if I'm so fortunate enough to be your president, I want to be a partner with principals and teachers and students and families like the ones here at the beach. I'm also very grateful to all of our volunteers who are working so hard in this campaign across this great state. And you're knocking down barriers, you're building ladders of opportunity, you're helping us make the point that this campaign is about both growing and sharing the promise of America. We are determined that we're going to give back the hope that every American should have, that their hard work will get them ahead, will enable them to have a better future, will give their children, and yes, their grandchildren, the chance to live up to their God-given potential. That's what we want for America, and that's what we're doing together in this campaign. You are all part of something bigger than yourselves. You're part of the most consequential election we've had for a long time in America. I know that the stakes get higher by the day. I'm sorry that all the people outside could not be fit into this gymnasium, but I saw the excitement that they had while standing in line, some of them with their children, and I want them to know if we can get the word out to them. I'm grateful that they came. Sorry they couldn't get in, but they too understand what is at stake. I'm also very proud to have won Arizona tonight. It's exciting to see that result come in because, you know, Arizona, like Washington, like a lot of the states that are going to be expressing their views and counting their votes in the weeks ahead, understand that this is not just a contest between different candidates. This is a contest between fundamentally different views of our country, our values, and our future. Now, what we saw happen today in Brussels, the horrible terrorist attack, reminds us of how high the stakes are. We live in a complex and dangerous world, and we need a commander-in-chief who can provide leadership that is strong, smart, and above all, steady in taking on these threats. The last thing we need, my friends, are leaders who incite more fear. In the face of terror, America doesn't panic. We don't build walls or turn our backs on our allies. We can't throw out everything we know about what works and what doesn't and start torturing people. What Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and others are suggesting is not only wrong, it's dangerous. It will not keep us safe. This is a time for America to lead, not cower. And we will lead, and we will defeat terrorists who threaten us and our friends and allies. We will take the fight to ISIS from the air, on the ground with local forces, and online where they recruit and propagandize. We have to dismantle the global terror pipeline, stop the flow of fighters, weapons, and money, and strengthen our defenses here at home. And we need to work closely with our allies because that cooperation will help make our own country safe. That is what I will do as president. So this is yet another reason why this election really matters. And your hard work, your commitment, your optimism about what we can do together is what I am counting on. You know, we need to keep working together. We need to make a point that we're going into the future with confidence and optimism. There's a lot of pessimistic talk. There's a lot of negativity. It's as though we aren't Americans. Nobody can beat us. They can't beat us anywhere if we're up to the game, if we're willing to compete, if we go after what matters to ourselves and our country. That's why so many people have joined this campaign. And I want you to think about the next president, whoever it is, walking into the White House. I do believe I am the most ready of anybody running to take that job. But I want you to think about this because I know that the caucus on Saturday here in Washington is an important milestone on this path to the nomination and the election. And I am well aware that we have to work hard between now and Saturday to convince people in Washington. And I want you to ask them with me what they answer to the next president's three big tests, because this will be true whoever it is. Number one, can you make a positive difference in the lives of Americans? Number two, can you keep us safe? And number three, can you bring us together instead of driving us apart? Now, you know, I've given a lot of thought to these tests because I know, having traveled across our country, that each one of them really matters to Americans. You know, start with the first. Can you make a positive difference? You know, a lot of folks ask me, why are so many people who go to some of these rallies so angry? Well, a lot of people are frustrated. A lot of people are worried. A lot of people feel that their best days, and therefore our country's best days, are behind us. And I want you to just for a minute put yourselves in their minds. Think back. We had the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. 9 million Americans lost their jobs. 5 million homes were lost. $13 trillion in family wealth was wiped out. A lot of Americans haven't recovered from that. A lot of Americans haven't had a raise in 15 years. A lot of Americans worry that life is not going to be better for their kids. I want you to understand that, because sometimes when all we see is the ugliness of these protests, the mean-spiritedness, when we see people running to be president of the United States who are literally inciting bigotry and violence, it's easy to say, I'm not even going to pay attention to that. But what I want you to know is we've got to reclaim the promise of America for all of our people, every single one of them. And to me, that starts with more good jobs with rising incomes. It includes standing up for unions and the American labor movement. It means more infrastructure jobs, because it's not just what you see, the roads, the bridges, the tunnels, the ports, the airports. It's what you don't see. It's the deteriorating water systems across America. It's the leaking pipelines across America. It's what we saw in Flint, Michigan. And as horrible as that is, I wish I could tell you it's the only place, but it's not. Children, 500,000 a year, are affected by lead poisoning. So we've got work to do. It's important work, and it will put millions of Americans to work. And you can't export those jobs. They have to be done right here in Seattle, in Washington, and across the United States. And we need more manufacturing jobs. There are some who say, well, we can't make things in America. I was out at Everett today. I met with the machinists and the aerospace workers. Yes, we can make things better than anybody else can right here in America. But we've got to make sure we change the incentives in our tax code, which unfortunately actually encourages people to move jobs out of our country. We're going to take that on, and we're going to make sure that we have advanced manufacturing and the good jobs that come with it. And we're going to start by making sure that the machinists and the aerospace workers always are making the best planes, doing the most advanced work of anybody in the world. And we're going to combat climate change with more clean, renewable energy jobs. This is one of the most consequential decisions facing us in this election. I am proud that as Secretary of State, I began the work with President Obama and our team that led to the Paris Agreement, that made it possible for us to say this has to be a top global priority. But if we don't fulfill it, it means nothing. It's just a piece of paper signed by 190 nations. So we have work to do, and I'm proud of the work that President Obama did against implacable hostility from the Republicans in Congress. I will protect, defend, and build on that work, but we've got to go further. I've set some big goals. I want to see us deploy 500 million more solar panels by the end of my first term. And I want enough clean, renewable energy to power every home in America by the end of my second term. We know how to take on big challenges in our country. It's time we start acting like it again. I'm tired of the denial and the deception and the Koch brothers' manipulation of our political process. And as we grow our economy, let's do more for small businesses, particularly young people who want to start small businesses. And I want to thank your mayor and everybody fighting to raise the minimum wage in Washington. We need to raise it on the federal level.